Welcome to the world of Soul Talk. I don't know whether it is evening or morning that you are listening to this and watching it, but it doesn't matter. You know, we go through a lot of frustration these days, even without COVID-19. And the frustration that people experience in their homes has been heightened by COVID-19 anyway. People are locked into their houses together and having to sit together for long periods of time, to the extent that people begin to see traits that they are not used to, or traits that they never thought existed in the other person. And the frustration just grows and grows. And frustration, of course, leads to anger. And anger leads to either of two things. It is depression or violence. And when it is violence, then someone is going to get hurt by the other one. And if it is depression, then someone is going to experience suicide or commit suicide. So these are the possibilities that exist. Already people have come asunder from one another. Some have divorced. Some have beaten up people. And all sorts of things happen. Now, before frustration sets in, that's where I come in. Come in to do what? Well, you know, I've spent most of my life going through suffering, going through a lot of frustration, going through a lot of trauma because of our existence under apartheid. That sounds familiar because it's not only me that has gone through that. Many people have. But I want to tell you my story. Because if I say that I come in before frustration sets in, what is it that qualifies me? What do I have that other people don't have? Well, I've been studying as well. Studying my behavior, studying the behavior of other people, reading through literature, meditating, exchanging, engaging, and so forth. That's what I've been involved in, because there has always been this thing about me that, look, I want to help people not to go through what I have gone through in terms of pain or suffering. But also, I want them to go through the solutions that I've been able to devise, and I want to share these with you. And I'm dedicated to help people, to work with people and engage them, learn from them, but also teach, coach, mentor. And that is why I've invited you to come into this world of Soul Talk. As I was growing up, my father was a tailor. He was a businessman. But under apartheid, businessmen were not wanted. Or black businessmen, as they say. They were not wanted. So they ordered my father to go and work in the farms. But he couldn't go and work in the farms. He had never worked in the farms. He had always been a tailor. But then they took him out of his house in Painville Springs. And he sent us to Everton to live there, while he remained behind, squatting around, so that now he can get his old customers. We remained in Everton. And we're living on something like 5 shillings a week. And we used to eat pap and tea, black tea, or water when there were no tea leaves. Water with sugar, put it in pap and they eat. And then we remained in Everton for quite a while until my father found a place next to Springs, a place called Delmas, in the farms there. But he was not working in the farms, he just found a place that he could rent. So we stayed there. Yeah, the school that we had to attend was very, very far from our house. Because we used to wake up at 5 o'clock and walk to school to be there by 8 o'clock in the morning. And something also that happened was that, my performance at school, especially in arithmetic, was very, very poor. But I didn't realize then why it was poor. I thought I was just dumb. And I was a source of ridicule, among the students. And even the teacher did not realize or even try to help me. So I got all the sums wrong every day. But then I continued at that school. And the other disadvantage was that the school ended at standard 4. There was no standard 5 and beyond. So my sister had to leave school. And I continued, also destined to leave school the next year. And so it went on like that. I had to finish school now. I had to finish my standard 4. What to do there? The school that was available next to us was very far because we had to wake up at 5 to be there before 8. Another thing that happened was my performance at school was very, very poor, especially in arithmetic. But I didn't realize that it was because we had a very, very long break between schools, the school in Everton and the school where we were now. We started school there around March, after everybody had already started. So obviously we had forgotten most of the things that we had learned the previous year. But as a child, my understanding was very, very low. I only discovered later in life what was happening to me in Delmas. But now I had to finish standard 4. And what do I do after standard 4? Because there was no standard 5 there. Standard 5 was in Davidton, which was about 30 kilometers away. And I could never dream of actually covering that distance, going to school every day. It was not possible. So I was at a loss after finishing. And it was now towards Christmas holidays. Christmas would pass, and then we'll have to go to school again. But there was nowhere to go under the circumstances. But something happened. I was taking a walk, just wandering around. And there was a forest next to us. I had never gone into that forest, but I went into that forest. And I found a young man there. Well, I call him young man because he was older than me. I was a mere child. I was 12 years old. So we started talking. And in our conversation, he suggested to me that we must go to Petfontein to look for a holiday work. I agreed. So in a week's time, we were on our way. After getting permission from my mother that I should go there. Because I convinced her that, look here, I've got to go to school, and if I get a job, I'll get some money, maybe I'll buy a bicycle and then ride on the bicycle to school from home. So she agreed. And we're very lucky because the very same day we got the job. So we worked for adjacent homesteads. Some time passed, and it was now Christmas Day. And my employer, Mrs. Snell, wanted me to work on Christmas Day. I had never been away from my family on Christmas Day. And Christmas Day was a special day. But here she is, she wants me to work on Christmas Day. Her family, her children, her grown children had visited her. And but then I did a few things for them. And when they were not aware, I went out and headed straight for home to spend Christmas with my family. When I arrived, my mother was just coming out of the house. And I complained to her, said, "Can you imagine Mrs. Nell wants me to work today on Christmas Day?" On Christmas Day, Mom? Can you imagine on Christmas Day she wants me to work? Then my mom just kept quiet. And then she said to me, "Didn't you say that you wanted to work to get money so that now you can go to school?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, just wait there." She went into the house and came out just as quickly with a plastic bag with cakes inside there, some scones, and a piece of chicken and squash drink. So this is what we're going to eat. This is yours. Go back to work. Your employer wants you, you must go to work so you can go to school next year. I was aghast. I was asking myself, is this my mother who does this to me? On Christmas Day, she chases me away to work for a white woman? I did not know what to do. I just went carrying that plastic bag. I was not even using the road this time. I was going through the millie fields towards my workplace. I threw that plastic bag with its contents all over. I was just distraught. I had never had this feeling before in my life. I felt rejected. I felt alone. I felt lonely. And, I did not know what to think about myself. I did not know what to think about my mother. And at any rate, I arrived back at my workplace. Mrs. Snell was so happy to see me. Said, "Oh, you are back. Just wash those dishes and then sweep the floors and stuff like that. These kids have made a mess of this house here, and I had to clean up that mess." I did what I could, and they were drunk, lying around the house. But I finished my work. Late in the afternoon, I felt free to go. It was around 5. Well, it's summer. And then I went to Davidton where my 2 aunts lived. And when I arrived there, people had been marrying around. People had been happy, enjoying their Christmas. There was no food, there was nothing left. And I was still lonely. This was my worst day in my whole life. Not because someone injured me or anything like that, but my heart was distraught. I had never had this feeling before. But as it turned out, this was going to be my best day in life, as it still is now. It is a day of destiny for me. It is a day of inspiration. And when I came back from exile, I told my mother that I am glad she behaved like that. I'm glad she sent me back to the place of work. And I'm glad that she was strong enough to do that. She just looked at me and said, "Well, I'm glad you now realize it. When I did it, my heart was very sore. I wept myself, seeing you leave and walking lonesome there in the empty space. But I'm glad you realized that I did it for the good. I said, well, it was for the good, because it has helped me live my life in such a way that I lived it with resilience. I lived my life with fortitude. I lived my life with many, many lessons that I shared with many, many people. And later on, I actually began to share those feelings, those lessons with other people. At any rate, school time came. I had to go to school. At 12, I went to Davidton, found a school, registered myself, enrolled with that school, and I was back in school, doing standard 5 now. And it was after I had bought this bicycle from the money that I got from Mrs. Nell. She was earning a pension of £8, and she gave me £2 of that. And I was able to amass enough money to buy that bicycle. But it was not after, say, 3 to 4 months that I bought that bicycle. And in the meantime, she allowed me to work through the months, or the first months of 1957, and allowed me to start work at 2 in the afternoon, which meant that I could go to school in the morning, come back at 2 and start work, and finish at 8 in the evening. And there was a barn, some kind of a warehouse next to the house there, which was used to put grass and things like that. There was a little cot which was used for me to sleep on. I couldn't even stretch in that baby cot, but it was okay. I didn't complain until I bought the bicycle and I went back home. I used to ride this bicycle from Delmas to Davidton to attend school. I attended school and up to JC, but I didn't finish my JC, because while I was doing JC, I was involved in the struggle for the liberation of this country. And there I was arrested, sent to Robben Island as a teenager, 7 years to spend on the island. But also, having gone to the island now, I realized that my life would have been weaker. So Robben Island made me strong, because I learned many, many things there. One thing I learned on Robben Island, as I was watching people behaving, talking, doing their own things, you know, and started studying also industrial psychology there. And then I realized something about us, that there were people that were strong. You watched that person talking or listened to him talking. You watched him walking, doing things. He would do things to demonstrate, not deliberately of course, but he was just like that. He was a tower of strength. You could lean on this person. Whenever you felt distraught and depressed, this person could be the source of your strength. But then you found others. You looked at this person. He was weak. The way he talks, he's weak. The way he walks, you find that this person is not complete. And then I started wondering. I said, in psychology, they tell us that we are made by our environment. And here we are, sharing the same environment, eating the same food, wearing the same kinds of clothes, and and being sworn at the same way anyway. That was our environment. Yet there are strong people that come out of there, and there are weak people that come out of there. What is happening here? So I started studying this, started asking questions around this disparate kind of behavior that is evident among the prisoners. And I watched the warders too, how they behave. That is when Soul Talk started. Because I started asking myself questions and meditating and studying and engaging on this issue with other people. And I found the reason why we were different. And when I discovered the difference between people, why people are strong and why others are weak, I was so excited that I just wanted to share this with others, because I also realized that nobody even wondered why we were different. Nobody was talking about it. We all took things for granted, but I stopped taking things for granted. And then I started studying some more on this issue. And when I left prison, I went into internal exile. I was sent to Guyana to go and work there. They gave me a job as a clerk in Guyana. I had to do it, working for the Bantustan government, because they wanted to watch me, of course. And while I was there, I was working in an office where people used to apply for business licenses. But I realized that this person, the head of that office, wanted to force people to join what they used to call the Bantu Investment Corporation, BIC, which was some kind of corruption. Because forcing people to join that they must get loans for their businesses so that now they can fleece them, was something that I did not approve of. There was no justice in there, but I could do nothing about it. But my chance came. This guy went on a month's holiday. So someone took over from him, a younger man. I tell you, what happened in that month, I just shifted all these applications to him to sign, to approve. So in that way, I was able to cover many applications of people who had applied to get business licenses. Then one day came a man from Bushbuckridge. He wanted to see me. And he told me that he wanted to thank me. I said, for what? He says, no, you facilitated my application to start a business in Bushbuckridge, and I want to thank you. He handed me a brown envelope, and I asked, what is in it? He says, no, there's money. I just want to thank you with this money. And then I told him, no. I get a salary here. I'm paid for all this work that I'm doing. I don't need to be given any more money for what I'm paid to do. Well, he looked surprised. Well, and that was it, I said, okay. He went away. And later on, I was wondering why I did that. At the time, it did not matter. I thought nothing of it, really. But now that people are talking about corruption and people take money from the public and taking money from business people and stuff like that, now the thought arises again. And I'm asking myself, why did I do that? I discovered later that it was because of parenting. I had a kind of father who never allowed you to accept money for nothing, free money. You must work for your money. I remember one day I came back boasting that I had cheated the farm owner because during holidays we used to work in the fields, you know, mealie fields and bean fields and stuff like that. So this guy made a mistake of giving me more money than I had earned. And I was boasting about it at home. And my father said, "You take it back. You take it back. That money does not belong to you. This guy made a mistake and you must go and rectify that mistake. Give back the money to him." So I was wondering what's happening. But then I had to obey my father. I did that. So when I think about it now and link the two things together, the two events, the two experiences together, then I realize why it was that I refused to take money from this businessman. It was not a deliberate act which I thought out. It simply happened automatically. So when I think about it now, I realize the power of parenting. And in my program that I was researching, this Soul Talk program, I integrated that lesson into it. And there is a section there that deals with parenting. How to bring up children in such a way that you can be proud of them. They can behave the way that people must behave in society and stuff like that. But more about that in the engagements that we're going to have together. On the island, I learned so many lessons. Engaging with people. Finding out why we were suffering that way. And actually developing tactics, techniques, and strategies to deal with our suffering. We were sworn at. We were made to stand in front of these young warders, naked, while they were searching us. But we found a way. Said, look here, if they want to see naked bodies, it's not about us. It's about them. Now, once you reframe your experience like that, then you realize that, look here, you are not going to be worried about how people are. They've got the ability to do that. They've got the ability to want to see naked bodies. And you are simply there as an observer. And yes, they're doing it to you, but it's not about you because they're doing it to everybody else. So that is how we learned the technique of reframing. And we came out tops. To the extent that we changed the situation, they stopped actually causing us to show them our backsides. They would just take our clothes, search those clothes, and then allow us to pass. Because they realized that it was a shameful thing to do, to be looking at the backsides of people, adults. And some of these adults were actually principals of schools. Some of them were pastors, where they came from, and and so forth and so forth. And we taught those guys the sense of decency. Fast forward to after prison, I found myself then being forced to work in Kiani. That is where I had the experience of someone trying to bribe me, and I refused the bribe. And I went into exile. In exile, I had a lot of literature that was not available in South Africa. It was that literature that I used to develop this program. I developed this program deliberately because I realized that the experiences that I had, the painful experiences and the solutions to those experiences and those feelings was something that had to be shared with other people, because colonialism had made us to suffer from something I call the dependency syndrome, where our sense of worth was disregarded. Not only disregarded, it was attacked. It was seen as something that had to be attacked. We had to be dependent on them. And this sense of dependency is affecting the whole nation today. This dependency syndrome. We do not think of ourselves as worthy of anything. We get involved in corruption. We get involved in abuse of other people. We get involved in feelings of, in feelings of inferiority. We depend on other people to give us a job. We cannot start a job. We cannot become entrepreneurs. There are so many things that are happening in our lives. Then I thought this program was good. And especially, this program was developed at a time when there was internecine warfare in the country, where people from different political parties were killing each other. Then I was asking, what is happening? And then I realized that this is a kind of program that would actually discourage us from solving problems through fighting with each other. Because there was the ego involved as well. No compassion, no integrity, no vision, no love amongst us. And these are the things that the nation wants and needs. So my program integrated lessons that would prevent such behavior. And coming back here, I started the program. I wanted to go to schools first, until I realized that the number of schools was 35,000 then, and it was a tall order. I could never finish 35,000 schools in enough time. But by the grace of God, the law of attraction started working. I found myself having a program on radio. It was Metro Radio then, but it's now Metro FM. And Tim Mudise was the guy who introduced me to broadcasting, where I actually articulated the things that I had learned in my research of Soul Talk. I shared with people. And I was exposed to about 500,000 people in 1 week. And it was a weekly program. It lasted for 12 years. But what I didn't realize at first was that I was talking Greek to people. I was telling people that they could change. And I soon realized that no, people did not believe that they could change. Our people had been conditioned to the situation or the position or the condition that they were in. So here I am telling them that no, there are techniques that you can use to change your life. You can do things that would better your life. Actually, there was one guy, who was involved in the football arena, not playing football, but in the football area, in the management area, who shared with my secretary later his feelings about me, that I was lying to people, I'm bringing American things here that do not make any sense, and I'm telling people they can change when people know that they cannot change. They are like that. Then I realized that no, I should do more. But it came to pass that more positive comments were trickling in, and people asking questions on radio, on the radio program, and me engaging with those questions. Today, there is a host of people called motivational speakers. And they were inspired, most of them were inspired by that program. And then people started realizing that change was possible. That was the beginning, that was a breakthrough. And then a young girl called Mapim Hlangu, who later in life became the CEO at ETV. When she was 19 years of age, she called the program Metro, on Metro, and chastised us that we were not coming to their communities, we were keeping everything in Johannesburg. We responded to her by actually visiting her school in Durban, KwaMashu. And that was when I realized that I should go to the communities. I started engaging communities with this program, and did seminars and workshops and coaching. So in other words, to cut a long story short, there is a lot of work that has gone into this through this program. There's a lot of work, and many people have been engaged in this. I created a Soul Talk Club then, where people would enroll and become members, and I would share with them information, coach them, mentor them, and give them information that would help them. But because I had to go to Parliament, that stopped. But now I'm reviving that program now. I'm reviving that club, but through the digital platform. As I'm talking to you now, you are getting this my story on the digital platform, on my website. So now I am going to run seminars on this website. Started already, actually, running seminars on this website. And I'm inviting you to become members. I'm going to give you the full program, and it will be accessible to you on an everyday basis. Snippets every day. Now just ask yourself the question, where am I going to be 20 years from now, or even 10 years from now? What kind of person am I going to be? And then ask yourself again, in 3 months' time, what kind of a person am I going to become? Let me answer the questions for you. In 3 months' time, having had this program, you shall find that you'll be a different person altogether. I'm not saying that you'll be an angel, but you'll find you are more confident, more resilient, You've got better fortitude, stronger fortitude, and all these attributes that are needed for a good life, a better life. A life that you can own. Self-mastery. Uyicontrol. Uzibuse. And not be ruled by the opinions of other people. Not being ruled by the circumstances or defined by the circumstances around you. But you'll be defining yourself. Charting your own pathway or path. Creating your own destiny the way that you want. That is the power of Soul Talk. That is what Soul Talk does for people. And it has been doing that for 26 years in this country through the seminars that I've been holding and the radio programs that I've been hosted on. In 3 months, you shall be having all that information and using that information as you want. Now tell me, can you achieve that in the next 10 years? If you can, it's fine. What I'm going to do, what I'm doing already, what I have been doing, is taking all that information that I have researched, all those lessons that I have researched over the years from the time that I was 12 years old, and going through everything and asking myself questions as to why and how did I go through this? How did I come out of it? And all that information. And the things that I've studied, the things that I've been engaging people on. That is, I've taken all of those things and put them onto these 3 months for you. For you to have. The University of South Africa gave me an award in 2018. And this award was all about the work that I'm doing on Soul Talk. They were recognizing the impact of this program. They recognized that it is the kind of information that the country needs. And I've got people that have endorsed and are still endorsing this program. Thought leaders in this country. People like Professor Fikeni, Somatuta Fikeni. People like Don Matera. And the former Dean of Psychiatry at Medunsa, Professor Soli Rataimane, and Timudisa, of course, who actually gave me the first opportunity to engage with people. And then there are many other people who actually endorse this program. They feel that this is what is wanted. Now, I've got a better opportunity now to cover many, many people. When I was running seminars, I could only cover up to 100 people under one roof. But I cannot engage people under one roof anymore now because of COVID. But actually, as it turns out, it's an advantage because on the digital platform, I can cover as many people as I want. I can talk to millions of people in real time. Can you imagine? And you'll be one of those people when you join this club. Many people have started subscribing already on social media. So I'm inviting you to come in. And it is not about money. It's about my contribution to my people. Because I have always been involved in contributing to the welfare of my people. Just joining the struggle at an early age. And going to Robben Island and serving time. And leaving prison. This program enhances the performance of any individual in any role. It doesn't matter whether you're a parent, a teacher, a student, an entrepreneur, a politician, a professor, a prisoner in jail, because I've also engaged with prisoners. In fact, some of the prisoners are entrepreneurs now. One of them, called Andres, invited me to a launch of his program. He was doing tree planting in Pretoria. And he employed 15 other ex-cons. That's what Andres Nkuna did because of this Soul Talk program. And up to today, he's still running that business. Now, you know, when you take out just one person out of the criminal activities, you have saved maybe at least 100 families from being robbed. You have saved 100 families. It could be more, because someone who is involved in criminal activity is not doing it in one day or for one day. It becomes a career. But Soul Talk takes out people from the criminal circuit. Anyway, as I've said, being a member of the club means that you are going to subscribe, register and subscribe, so we can know where you are and who you are, and receive daily lessons, daily engagement. And anyone or any member of the Soul Talk Club will have access to me. You can call me or contact me anytime privately and get coaching on any issue or any challenge in your life that you are experiencing. And you and me will engage on the basis of the program that you are already exposed to. So those are the benefits. I mean, daily lessons that motivate you, that inspire you, that empower you, that make you unstoppable. And then also where there is a peculiar challenge or a peculiar problem that you experience, either in your relationship, in your romantic relationship, or in your relationship with your co-workers, in your relationship with your leaders, or if you're a leader, in your relationship with the people that you lead. As a parent, in your relationship with your children, or as a teenager, in your relationship with your parents or your siblings, or your relationship with your boyfriend or a girlfriend, I'm there. There is no area that is out of bounds. That is the benefit of Soul Talk. Because I've engaged all these kinds of people that I'm talking about here. I've had parenting programs, I've had teaching programs for teachers and stuff like that. I've been at universities like University of Johannesburg. I've been at TUT. I mean, you just name it. I'm just running short of people to engage, and you are there to work with me, so that now you can help me learn some more, and you can help me help you and other people around you. And all that you do, it is not a business, this, because all you do is to pay 100 Rand for registering for life. But every month, in order to help with the expenses, like for instance, there's a cameraman shooting this video now. Those people have got to be paid. They're running a business. We are actually providing an opportunity for young people who do this kind of work to earn some money. So that we cannot avoid. We shouldn't avoid at any rate, because we must encourage them. So there's going to be a subscription. There is a subscription already because other people have paid the subscription, a monthly subscription of 190 Rand. Now 190 Rand is not enough to take out someone to lunch. How much does a packet of cigarettes cost? And how many packets of cigarettes does a smoker smoke in 1 month? And how many beers do I drink? And ever so many things. 190 rands is nothing. Okay, you get free consultation with me, free coaching, free mentorship if you need it. Just ask yourself how much you would pay a consultant, how much you would spend going to them and sitting there with them for 1 hour or so. They won't charge you 190 Rand, but here you pay 190 Rand for the whole month, the service of the whole month. I'm doing this, although some of my friends think I'm stupid or daft, but I know that this is a mission for me. I don't need to be a millionaire. I just need to serve. That is where my reward comes in, when people can change, when people can have peace within themselves, when people can live in peace with each other, when people can be empowered, when people can be unstoppable. So if this is what you want, there's a button below there. Click that button, and that button will take you to the enrollment form. Fill in that enrollment form and the registration form and the other details, and everything will be left with me, and you'll be contacted. You will join the thousands and later on millions of people that take themselves seriously. People who really know that this life is for them. It's in their hands. But they need techniques and strategies to deal with this life. So go ahead. Meet you at the club. I love you. Bye.